HDMI now.
Where's Justin and Jennifer? Are they okay?
Jennifer had a headache and Justin's hearing aids are good.
Oh,
They did not charge correctly last night.
I wish I could do that with my ears.
Yeah, I just need to search for it.
Not charge them correctly?
Just turn off my sound. Sometimes I wish I could turn off my mouth.
I might need a battery.
And get myself out of it.
Here we go.
See, people
I'm
who
practicing
can
3
hear,
seconds before I...
people who can hear would sometimes wish they couldn't.
Paul,
People who
Paul,
can't hear would-
you need some more batteries.
These are AAA though.
Oh, AAA.
I don't have AAA.
How are we going to get this on? Is there a way to do
And
it
the
up here?
people with no hair wish they had hair.
Except for maybe Joe, because Joe feels that it gets long and it gets too
Oh yeah, there's
hot.
probably a button on it.
I'm looking.
And he's like, it's this long and it's hot. And I'm like, dude, that's not long and it can't.
Is there any AAA's for the controller for the TV in the other room?
Yeah. Yeah, go steal one out of the TV remote, maybe.
Yeah, let me try these.
Oh, that's hot. Like, it's gross. It makes you want to shave your head.
Yes.
Pardon?
You like being bald?
Do you enjoy it? Like, is it better than having a full head of hair?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Got hair in my ears.
Well, we know that part can grow hair. But your head grow hair?
Yeah, what is that
No.
about? Sky's got hair in his ears.
She did told me I forgot where it's.
Well, maybe you should trim the hair.
That's not funny.
It is when you have to pluck them.
They make shavers for that.
They have nose shavers too. I've seen them.
So, question about your comment about the technology in olden days. That's one thing Enoch, the book of Enoch says in chapter 8. And Azazel spawn Bwizbs, that's his name, taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and to make known to them the metals of the earth and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of antimony and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones, and all coloring tinctures. And there arose much godlessness, and they committed fornication. They were led astray and became corrupt in all their ways. So he also, Semjaza spawned Whimses, which is one of these leading Elohims of the 200 that came down to intermarry with women. He taught enchantments, root cuttings. Aramoros spawned Wismus, the resolving of enchantments. Barakija spawned Wismus, taught astrology. Kokabel spawned Whimses, the constellations. I lost my screen for a second. Boom.
There
Oh,
he is. Oh, wow.
now you can read it.
Beautiful.
Good job, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Dr. Bishop.
So I was right here. That's spawn Wisbims. The knowledge of the clouds, the signs of the earth, the signs of the sun, the course of the moon. And as men perish, they cried and cried up to heaven. Now this means there's more there, but it was lost because the parchment or whatever they're translating from or copying from was damaged. But there seems to be more, right? If you go back to 6, this is the passage that I referred to earlier when we were talking about Genesis 6. Angel and the angels, the children of the heaven. So he calls them watchers in other places. Saw and lusted after beautiful and comely daughters of verse 1. Children of men and multiplied in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the angels. Now, we have to take the term angel kind of loosely because it can, a lot of times it's just used both in intertestamental literature, as which we call Second Temple literature, and in Christian circles. It's just used, the term is just used for any spiritual being, good or bad, otherwise, right? But the word actually means messenger, and when in the scripture, when an angel shows up, he's bearing a message from God. Or very rarely, a message from a Elohim, a God with a little g. So there's only two places, maybe, I think, where that's the case. So here it's no surprise that the word's used in reference to these Elohim. Let us choose, verse 2, come let us choose us wives from among the children of men, and begat us children. And Semjaz, who was their leader, I fear you will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. In other words, are you with me? And they all answered and said, let us swear an oath and bind ourselves by mutual imprecations not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. And they swore all together and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And there were in all 200 who descended in the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon. It's really important to today's message, Mount Hermon. So these 200 Elohim, host of heaven, came down and decided to take women and rebel against God. This is the second rebellion. First rebellion was in the garden with Adam, but these gathered on Mount Hermon, and it names them there in verse 7. These are their chiefs of tens, and it probably, again, should be more there. So they each chose himself a wife, defiled themselves, and they became pregnant and bore giants, whose height was 3,000 ells, who consumed all the acquisitions of men. That's very, very, that's like real giant, like the Jolly Green Giant. Or what's the fable?
The golden goose.
Hmm?
The golden goose.
Jack and the Beanstalk. Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking of
Fee, fi, fo, fum
the
giants.
guy that carried his axe and had the ox.
Paul Bunyan.
Paul Bunyan.
Yeah, that's an American fable, right? I don't think, well, he wasn't a giant, was he?
He was. He dropped his axe and made the Grand Canyon.
Oh, I guess he was.
That's how it
Straightened
was
out the
made.
Mississippi River.
That's right. Didn't you know?
Never studied that, no.
I've heard of the name Paul Bunyan. I've never heard of the tale.
He had a blue ox. He made mountains and canyons.
So they ate a lot, and they went through all the stuff they could eat, and then they started eating men, and began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and devour one another's flesh, drink the blood. So things got really nasty. And the earth laid accusations against the law. Even the earth was crying out to the Creator, is what we take from that. So what I wanted you to get from that is where they landed and made this pact was Mount Hermon.
A lot of that stuff they taught them is still around today.
Yeah. Do you think that it was knowledge that God never intended for man to have?
Well, crafting weapons was something that man can figure out for themselves. yeah, it wasn't on God's time for them to know this knowledge.
Sure.
Perhaps God wanted us to have the knowledge, just not now. During,
Right. Well,
Yeah.
not on God's time
right.
table. Yeah.
Technically, God never wanted us to have that knowledge because it wasn't given in the garden.
Like I said. You get an A plus plus.
Where's the lie?
Oh my God.
Where Mean Girl.
Like, if you look at him teaching
I was like,
them
is she
astronomy,
serious?
that's
And
where
why is she
astrology
talking
came
like
from. Like, how much sin
Never
came from
serious.
their education?
Well, the astrology stuff, a lot of it has some basis.
So,
Some
Right.
factual things about personalities, time, seasons,
All of it does.
but not all of it is.
But everything they taught them has a point, sin or not, but it was in a.
so what would they have taught them? They would have taught them that certain stars and or constellations represent certain of the Elohim.
All of it directs their attentions away from God into sourcing their own information, and that's where the problem is. Which sucks though, because it's super interesting to me.
Well, it is, and it is super interesting because I'm finding it's all through Scripture. The more I'm reading now, it's like, oh my gosh, how did I miss that? Like today, you're gonna go, oh my gosh, how did I miss that? I swear you will. I swear. If you don't, come punch me, okay? So, and I go, oh, I ducked and I missed that.
Sin is such an amazing thing. Let me tell you.
Amazing.
Yeah. Sin is amazing on how, like, let's look at the last 3,000 years, right?
Mhm.
Okay, since sin came down. Let's look at sin. This bracelet means nothing to me, but it's something very, very, very pretty. It's just stone. My girlfriend took me to a holy man from the Andes. He made me this. He told me who my archangel was. He told me all these things. And all these things, like this, safety for travel. These are all my chakras and what I need to balance out. This is supposed to be to prevent nightmares. This one blocks negative thoughts from people.
That's why I'm having a hard time.
This one balances my heart chakra. These are all pretty rocks.
Yeah.
They're rocks, you guys.
However,
She believes so.
there is a
deeply.
reality behind them in the spiritual realm, which is what we have been learning about recently. That there are these Elohims that were given in Deuteronomy 32 dominion over nations, and they do have interaction with humans and have shown to be powerful. They're not Yahweh. They don't have that kind of ultimate creative say over everything. But they I guess demigods would be appropriate to a certain degree. But they are celestial beings. Those idols that over and over and over we keep reading in the Old Testament had a spiritual reality attached to them. Just like those probably have a spiritual reality attached to them based on another Elohim. Right?
I just assume they're safe to work because I think they're pretty.
Okay.
I don't believe in them.
Okay. Okay.
If anybody's worried, I don't believe in them.
When we begin to understand, I think, that the reality of the spiritual battle that's still going on, it will enable us to understand somewhat better things that Jesus did in relation to that warfare and in relation to that establishment of the kingdom. Really, this reinforces 100% the idea of a physical, literal kingdom on the earth, because that's exactly the plan. That's the battle strategy, is to take over and establish a godly kingdom, just like we were supposed to be in the very beginning before the rebellions. The rebellion in the garden, the rebellion that we just read about here and in Genesis 6, and then the rebellion at the Tower of Babel. Those are the three main events at the very beginning of the Bible that set the course for redemption, which is overcoming the spiritual forces and regaining rulership and dominion over the earth. Not that God couldn't have done it at any point, but he chose to do it through his Messiah, and to allow humans to participate in that rulership. We blew it in the beginning. I believe Adam was the human representative in that divine council. The way Eden's described as a mountain in Isaiah, the way Eden's described as a perfect environment for humanity, paradise, the way Eden, the way that the Lord walked with Adam in the garden, all makes sense to me. The way that an entity showed up and began talking to Eve like it was normal tells me there's more going on there than just what we narrowly see from a Western mindset. So, and if we carry some of these thoughts out further, like Eden, it being the interface, the mountain, the idea of a mountain being a high place where heaven and earth meet. It's the place where the realms cross over, the physical and spiritual cross over. It's the intersection of that. That's all through the Bible. We've talked about that before, years and years ago. Well, at least mountains being governance and being the place of God. He always chooses a mountain to dwell on. Mount Zion, Jerusalem being on a mountain, Mount Zion, and the giving of the law, and him showing up on Mount Sinai in Midian. It's consistent. It's always the place where the spiritual and the physical meet. So Eden being that same thing, we can carry that forward, that sacred space. Adam and Eve were ejected out of that sacred space because if they didn't leave, they would have lived forever in their fallen nature. There's some other reasons too, but they were kicked out of the assembly for the rebellion, their participation in the rebellion. They didn't cause it; they just participated in it and disobeyed the order of the Lord, of Yahweh. So, going forward, from Babel, God's inheritance is Israel, so he begins to only deal with one people, and the other 70 nations of the world are under rulership of Elohims, Baal. Baal's on my mind because it's in my lesson today, and I spent a lot of time looking at Baal. But there's quite a number, depending on pick a pagan deity. And they all change names from culture to culture for the same deities. And some of them have been lost. Some of them, don't get me wrong, they're still around. They're immortal. They're still around. This isn't old history. This is current events. What do you think drives Islam? Where's the Elohim behind that? Certainly. These are the principalities and powers of Ephesians 6. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. What do we wrestle against? Principalities, powers. Let me go there real quick.
So then why the flood? If they were gonna live anyway.
The flood was to destroy the offspring.
Oh,
Of the-
Elohim.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Ephesians. I got to go to New Testament.
It just blows my mind how the sin, how much sin came from them.
Oh
and
shoot,
we
that's the
still
wrong
have
reference,
it.
isn't it?
How long did people live during that time?
Roughly 900 to 1,000 years.
For the Elohim?
No, they.
No, for humans.
I meant the Elohim.
They're
The
eternal.
offspring.
Yeah, probably about the same.
6:12. Right there. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers. The arche, the beginning. That should tell you right there. We're talking about these Elohim, the arche, against the powers, against the world forces of this darkness, against the spiritual forces of wickedness from above in the heavenly places, the raised places. Remember, heaven means up, Uranus means up, the high places. That literally is the high places. It's not heaven like the third heaven. It's because the birds fly in the heaven, the mountaintops are in the heavens. So that's therefore take up the full armor of God. That's
Did you
That-
say third heaven? I've never heard that.
oh, Paul got called up to the third heaven. That's literally what Scripture says,
That's where paradise is.
and that is not where paradise is. That prove that biblically because it's not in the Bible.
That sounds more like a Mormon thing.
Yeah.
I thought he said.
Well, Jesus told the thief on the cross, "Today you'll be
Oh,
with me
yeah,
in
that's right,
paradise."
Yeah.
But he was talking about paradise, not heaven, not above.
Sorry to derail it. I just
It's okay.
That was
This is a free for all Sunday school lesson, so it's okay.
So what was Christ?
Did you get the PowerPoint?
because it's on the HDMI.
Yeah. You can't play it right now, but you got it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the point that I want you to get, that this hasn't ended. This is still going on. This is still the struggle. There is some Elohim in charge of this. It's geographical, it's territory. There's some Elohim in charge of this territory where this outpost of Yahweh's domain exists. This is a safe place for us. This is a battle headquarters, if you will. Because we are supposed to be battling death and battling the spirit, these rulers, and standing by taking up the full armor of God. And to be on the offensive. Some of these are offensive weapons, not just defensive weapons. Sword is an offensive weapon, for the most part.
Do you
But-
feel like this was even in God's intention wheelhouse for us to learn more like this, or do you think?
Well,
You
I
just
think
feel-
this, I think I in particular have been teaching a one-sided physical view of the scriptures because I had no knowledge of the supernatural. I could not find it, because I did not have enough information. And I have been very careful in checking with Old Testament scholarship on what I'm telling you, and it all checks out. It's just not taught in denominations. I don't know why. It really opens the Bible up and opens up, why would the Lord do this? Why would Yahweh have this beef with the Canaanites?
once you start down that road.
Because Canaan was cursed, right?
Well, once you start down the road of all these things, then you legitimatize things like astrology and astronomies, the effect of people, and then people will be more easily swayed towards things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like reading tarot cards and reading your palms and all of that kind of stuff. When you look at it, sorry.
You come to realize that it's probably, there is some power to it.
Sure.
Absolutely.
And when there's
Well,
some
I
power
would
to
be
it, then
careful
you-
with your trinkets, right? I understand. I'm not picking on you, but
Go ahead.
I would be careful with that, right?
Mhm.
Because there is something behind it, whether you buy into it or not, right? Probably is what does or doesn't give it any power over you. And I agree with you to a certain extent, but I would still be careful with it. I would be careful with tarot cards. I would be careful with Ouija boards. Man, I had a really weird experience with Ouija board.
I would.
So any of that occultish stuff, I would be very careful with. But talking about it and thinking about it, like, I know when the Holly and her generation was little, we had a big discussion about whether it was okay to read Harry Potter because it was wizards and stuff. Well, it's fantasy, right? As long as we know that it's not real, but it is real, right? Right? It is to a certain extent. It is real, but it's not. This is just a story. This isn't isn't real as far as the story goes. But are there things in the world that these Elohim have power over? Go to Africa, and I'm sure you probably saw some interesting things in Africa that made you go, huh?
Is wild because the stuff that happened was the Sunday morning church service was
Right.
where
Right, that's what I'm talking about.
so visible.
Like, for me, like, I hear you talk about tarot cards and stuff, and it's like, for me, like, for several years, I got to work with actual satanic, like, demon. Like, I talked to him and stuff, and he educated me, and he knew I was Baptist and all these things, and I go back and, did you know that regular deck of cards was the original tarot card? And so, like, people don't know these things. And it's like, so, yeah, certain things have energy, like copper is great for conducting electricity. If you put your hand inside amethyst, you can feel the warmth because it puts out a warmth and stuff like that. I think for me, because people wear diamonds or stones as symbols for commitment and stuff, it really does come down to the belief. And I would be in big trouble if I believed in a lot of the things
Well,
that are like,
I would agree with you scripturally because Paul says,
yeah,
things sacrificed to idols are nothing unless you make it something, right?
exactly. And
And
it's,
I mean, I'm paraphrasing obviously, but they should have no power over us. We've been freed, and the things that we give credence to, as long as we're not causing anybody else to stumble. See, that's the thing. If you're wearing those things, would somebody in the congregation have a big problem with it? Then obviously,
if somebody had a
yeah.
problem with it,
Yeah.
I would want them to come to me.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
would take
Yeah,
it
yeah.
off.
I'm only using it as an example because
Yeah.
you brought it up. Yep.
No, please.
So, hand up, Ken. Did you raise your hand? Okay.
But
All
the
right.
validity, like you said, the original cards that we play cards with,
Mm-hmm.
being a takeoff from the tarot cards, that's why the Baptist churches don't like you to play cards,
Mm-hmm.
because they lead you down that road of sin.
So there's.
Yeah.
I do kind of like. I understand the rationale behind the complete abstention in order as like a protective measure. I remember growing up, there was this whole, I don't know, I remember having talks with you, Dad, about like all the things that are out there that could potentially be harmful, so we weren't allowed to, there was a fear instilled of certain like pop culture things that in retrospect truly are harmless, but it's the intent that really gives it power or not, right? But I understand where that fear stems from, but I feel like a lot of that fear is also from ignorance of not fully understanding it. It's like, and this can be applied to so many other things, right?
Well,
I don't
sure.
understand it, so I'm going to be afraid of it and completely like discredit everything that has
Right,
to do with it.
right.
I remember having a conversation with you about Dungeons and Dragons. Like you're summoning demons. You might accidentally cast a spell. You don't know what you're doing with. This is a really dangerous thing to engage with. I really hope that you know that it's not something that our home finds appropriate. And now I learn a lot more about D&D, and it's like, oh man. Yeah, perhaps you could use that as a platform for engaging with the occult if you chose to, if you had the intent. Anybody that I've ever talked to, it's a way to spend time with friends and flex your imaginative skills.
Mhm.
But you can see how you can make anything into
Sure.
something bad if you want to.
Take one of the most basic human functions, procreation.
There we go.
Can you corrupt that and make that into a cult? Yeah. You
But
can
that's
go.
not the exclusive. That's not only what it was made for.
No, right.
So
right.
you can also take that and completely sterilize it of anything enjoyable.
Correct.
And then if you enjoy an aspect of it, that's sinful. Like
Right.
that's
And there's
damaging. That's
there are
so-
plenty of organizations that teach exactly that, which is ridiculous.
Yeah,
Because Scripture says it's to be enjoyed.
within these parameters.
Yeah.
And it takes
The marriage bed is undefiled.
a long time
Period.
to get that out of your psyche.
Oh, I know.
Your whole, not just the sex thing, but literally like anything. Like for a long time, it felt like anything that I enjoyed doing, that there was something bad about it. Like I'm doing something wrong by enjoying going to a concert or enjoying going, like it's a weird, it messes with you.
It does.
It really messes with you.
Tell me about it. How can you be a pastor and play rock guitar? You go to bars. Oh my gosh. Because you know that
Music is
that
very
flat and
fun.
fifth chord is evil. So says the monks from the 12th century.
I feel like everything really, really does come down to faith. I've been, just blessed to be in different churches and study different things and be educated with other people. But like when it comes down to it, I love the education of the word.
It comes down to serving our Elohim Yahweh and putting him above all other Elohims. The loyalty, that is covenant faithfulness. We've been preaching it for years. Covenant faithfulness, covenant faithfulness. Doesn't have anything to do with sin. Has to do with being faithful, being righteous. David, and I've taught you that for a long time. Covenant faithfulness is the thing God values the most. That's how David could be a murderous adulterer and be a man after God's own heart. And he wasn't just a man after God's own heart when he was good. He was a man after God's own heart because he was loyal to God to a fault always. And even was seemingly more hurt by disloyalty when he numbered Israel than losing his son, losing a child. Think about that. Why do you have a smirk on your face?
I was just,
Not you, him.
oh.
He's like, I got a
He wanted to
chance.
say something. He went,
And I'll say it.
please.
Parenthood, definitely an evolutionary process.
Oh, definitely.
My comment was not to be
I-
condemning
honey,
whatsoever.
I don't take it
I
personal.
understand why
No,
you
I-
said those things.
Sitting here today, looking back, and the judgment calls that we made, we can see the mistakes that we made, but we make judgment calls at the time when you got a house full of kids or 3 young girls, you know. And it does, a lot of the influence has to do with whatever, if you're a Christian, whatever church body that you're in, because you take in and you process, and maybe, yeah, there's a lot of things that Valerie and I regret doing, as far as, you know, but you make a judgment call at the time.
Of course.
And you hope that
Yeah.
you're right. Most of the time, you try to be right and you're not.
You do the
just hope
best,
that the damage
make
is
the
not-
best decisions you can with the information you have.
And as they now are adults, parents of teenagers and stuff, they'll be able to take that and whatever was garbage, throw it out, and then whatever they use and apply, they have to hope is right, because down the road, then that young lady's gonna give feedback back to her mother about what was good and what wasn't good.
Yeah, she'll be sitting in your shoes
And
someday.
yeah, and it's just, it's
I
an
hope.
evolutionary
Here,
process. But yeah, there's a lot of regret on things that we chose.
First
But
generation
in the moment,
of internet.
you
So
have to
much.
hope and pray that you make the right calls, and
90s
you
were
don't
wild.
get them right all the time.
To be very honest, I don't wait to tell mom what I don't like. I tell her immediately what I don't think is the best thing.
that's actually good.
We've
I think
created a
that's
culture of open
great.
communication, which is, again, it's different than what I grew up with, but you live and you learn, and I don't feel I was well, maybe a little bit cheated, because I never went trick-or-treating until I was 18.
Oh
but
my gosh.
it's fun. It's a different childhood than I had, and it's not.
It's your experience. It's your journey. We're all different.
Mhm.
All right, it's almost noon. Or almost 11. We gotta stop here. Alice
We have
has
one more
something.
question, though.
But is also for like Halloween, is that if you only make it out of something, then that can be bad? Or is it
Or
Halloween?
Christmas, or Easter, or they all have pagan roots.
But like Halloween, people like some Christians don't celebrate it because it has like demonic things. with
I know a lot of Christians that don't celebrate Christmas either.
For the same reasons.
it, really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Christmas actually
Alice,
is more
I don't
affordable.
celebrate Christmas either.
You know?
There
No.
are ways to celebrate. You celebrate Christmas, your family does not.
I
be specific.
I don't celebrate it in like trees and presents and stuff like that. Do I get presents for people? Yes.
Easter's kind of the same way, where
Yeah.
it's not the.
Feast of Ishtar, goddess of fertility.
It's all about intent, baby.
Well, most
Ken.
of the holidays outside of the ones that are in the Bible have some element of paganism.
Yeah.
Which is wild to me. It's like Jesus celebrated Hanukkah, so why are Christians not celebrating Hanukkah in the same way Jesus did? If they're like, Christmas wasn't in the Bible.
I think it'd be fun if we did Hanukkah as a tradition.
I prefer Festivus.
Festivus.
Ken?
So going backwards a little bit, I had bought a book in the past and had talked to you about it, and you had shared, and that was with the Book of Jasher.
Yeah, yeah.
What you had just shared that the original doesn't exist anymore. So is that correct? I mean, I don't want to
Jasher?
speak out of turn. Yeah.
If that's what I told you, that's what I researched at the time.
Okay. And
So this
that-
Enoch is first Enoch. They say first Enoch because there's a couple Enoch books,
Mhm.
but it's still in the Ethiopian Bible. It is legitimate. The other two are very late and very shaky.
This is the only reason I ask is because to have it like I have the Book of Jasher, you know, and if that's just someone's opinion, that'll stay on the shelf. But looking here, purchasing like the books of Enoch, how, and looking here to buy one to have for a personal library, what do you look for legitimacy when you're purchasing a book such as, or a combination? One here, Enoch, Jasher, and the Jubilees, as an example.
Those three are pretty decent, actually. Yeah.
And
It is. Which ones are included in the Apocrypha? Isn't Jubilees in the Apocrypha? The apocryphal books are legitimate. They just were not considered inspired, but they were included in the Catholic Bibles because they are great for information. First, second Maccabees, isn't there a third Maccabees?
Yeah,
Not
there
really.
is. It's
Third,
weird.
three Maccabees. You know,
Yeah, a lot of those stem from the Codex Vaticanus and
Yeah.
Sinaiticus.
Because
And
it's
so
like-
there are, I think those are probably the earliest existing texts that we have. Because I don't think there's scraps of them that have been found elsewhere.
so Enoch is Hebrew. It was definitely in Qumran and the Dead Sea Scrolls, almost entirely, and is a Second Temple pre-Jesus book, supposedly passed down by sages.
If there's one that you know of that you could highly recommend, let me know, because I'd like to have it. I'd like to.
I would recommend this one. I haven't gone all the way through it yet. There's some wild things in here about I'm still kind of digging into.
It's not the
So I'm not saying it's all right. I'm just saying this is what Second Temple Judaism believed. So
a name to that particular book you have, or can you
Yeah.
text it, or
the pseudepigrapha.
Pardon?
Pseudepigrapha.
The pseudepigrapha. Yeah, let me go back. I'll show you. COTP, Old Testament pseudepigrapha. Here are the books.
that's in
On
your
my
Bible
computer.
program? I take it.
Yeah. Jubilees is in there. What'd you say, Joshua? I don't know that Joshua's in there. Pirkei Avot, I have actually referenced that a lot over the years. The Sibylline Oracle, Zadok, Barak, Maccabees, Fourth Maccabees. Yeah.
I like that.
Anyways,
You're making me look just to see if there's a download of that in mine, so I'll leave it at that, but I'll chat with you again about that book or books.
okay, we need to take a break and then we'll get back at it. I just want everybody to know that I haven't seen my great niece in 3 weeks, so I get the baby as soon as I'm done. Period.
Did
No
you
argument.
hear that, Alice?
What?
He hasn't held her in 3 weeks, so she.
I'm pulling rank.
We got that.
Okay, let's have a quick word of prayer. Father, thank you for opening our understanding, opening our minds, and revealing this stuff to us. I pray that we would take it in, process it, Lord, and apply it to see how wonderful and awesome your plan really is, how broad it is, and how it affects us today as your people. Help us to be like you. Help us to be loyal to a fault to you and increase our faith. In Jesus' name.